When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking player.
Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo.
The boxing world just exploded with the news fans have been waiting years to hear. The impossible has finally become reality. Reports are flooding in that the jaw-dropping $400 million super fight between Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez is officially signed, and the entire fight game may never be the same again. For months, people called it fake. They said the negotiations would collapse. They claimed Canelo would never step into the ring with the dangerous, undefeated Mexican monster. But now, insiders are saying the contracts are done, the money is locked in, and both camps are preparing for one of the biggest clashes in boxing history. And trust me, this is not just another title fight. This is legacy versus hunger. Canelo, the face of boxing, the pound-for-pound superstar who has conquered division after division, now faces the one man many believe has the size, pressure, and power to finally expose him. Benavidez has spent years calling him out publicly, demanding respect, demanding the fight fans wanted most, and now he's finally got his wish. But here's where things get even crazier. Sources close to the negotiations claim tensions between both camps are already boiling over behind the scenes. Heated exchanges. Massive disagreements over fight terms. Security concerns at future press conferences. Some insiders are even predicting this rivalry could become one of the nastiest boxing has seen in years. Social media is already in complete meltdown. Some fans believe Benavidez is simply too young, too hungry, and too relentless for Canelo at this stage of his career. Others are calling it disrespectful to doubt a living legend who has already defeated some of the biggest names in boxing history. One thing is certain, when these two finally stand face to face, the entire sports world will stop and watch. Because this isn't just a fight anymore. It's war.
The most feared fighter in boxing. Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying, you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude who fights like that. Oh, Canelo's ducking him. This dude's a monster. And I looked and I thought, am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're definitely right. You know, you're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, you know, mess with his game. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. You know, I accept and I invite war. You know, so if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect.
After witnessing Canelo Alvarez lose a fight against Terence Crawford, he got vocal and direct, not just advocating for a fight but also accusing Canelo of being afraid. For years, one name has haunted Canelo Alvarez, a challenge he has constantly evaded.
Canelo, and he was talking about how he didn't want to give David Benavidez the fight because he was being disrespectful.
When you look at the history of Canelo, all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, and he fought all of them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, one being extra disrespectful towards the other, he took the sport out of it, and he just felt as if he wasn't going to give Benavidez the payday that.
Benavidez is ready to finally settle the issue and take back control. Following a terrible loss to Terence Crawford, that shadow is hard to ignore. It was a big deal in boxing just a few weeks ago. Terence Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion, moved up 2 weight classes and delivered a performance that made Canelo Alvarez look human. It wasn't just a loss. It was a great show that took away some of the Mexican superstar's magic. Even experienced trainers like Ronnie Shields thought that Canelo might have passed his best years.
David Crawford by unanimous decision. He got that. And I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo.
While Oscar de la Hoya highlighted where Canelo went wrong, the fight was more than just a brawl. It was a pivotal moment that heralded a long-awaited challenge. In an exclusive interview with Inside the Ring, David Benavidez acknowledged Crawford's historic accomplishment. He complimented Crawford, knowing that he had accomplished something few boxers had ever done. Crawford, according to Benavidez, should be on boxing's Mount Rushmore since he jumped up 3 weight classes to become the undisputed super middleweight champion. He stated, "Not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight how much of a dog he is," hinting that other fighters could benefit from Crawford's heart. Long before Crawford's crushing strike, David Benavidez had been actively pursuing Canelo, a super middleweight ghost.
First of all, I just want to give Terence Crawford a great congratulations. You know, he's reached a part in history that only so many fighters get to even accomplish in boxing. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. There's nothing, you can't take that away from him. Terence Crawford should be on the Mount Rushmore in boxing, because not only did he go up 3 weight classes, he beat one of the best fighters of this generation. I don't remember any time in history where anybody has come up from 147 pounds and won the super middleweight championship. Not only just won, but the undisputed. He's won every single title. So, you know, man, that man, not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight by seeing this combination right now how much of a dog he is. You know what I mean? I think a lot of fighters could take a lot of notes from Terence Crawford, not only physically, but as take notes in the heart aspect. And I give it all up to Terence Crawford. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. And, you know, we salute Terence.
For years, Benavidez, a 2-time WBC champion with a devastating professional record of 30 wins, 0 losses, and 25 knockouts, held the interim championship, directly challenging Canelo's unequal domination. The conversation wasn't just murmurs. It was concrete. According to reports, Canelo was offered an unbelievable $70 million for the match. Benavidez accepted the proposition, stating that he received a fixed sum of $5 million to make it happen.
WBC belts right here. I'm the best in the division. If they want to give me an opportunity now or later, I'm gonna keep winning. You know, like I said, I'm gonna be the greatest of my generation by the time I'm done, and my job is not complete until I make that happen. For Canelo and everybody else, it just shows everybody I'm not f***ing around. I'm here to stay. I just look at the facts. You know, the people want to see this fight more than Carlos Adames and Charlo. You know, that's why that fight hasn't happened. But for me and Canelo, we have motion. You know what I mean? I've been winning the fights I'm supposed to win in fantastic fashion. He has nobody else to fight. You know what I mean? So if they want to give it to me now, later, whenever, I'm not going.
However, once Benavidez agreed, the phone went silent. No response, no negotiation, just deafening silence. This was more than just talk from an inexperienced challenger. Benavidez achieved his position by walking through flames. His 2 most remarkable recent performances solidified his claim. First, he viciously defeated and dominated Caleb Plant in a nasty grudge match. Then he completely devastated the previously undefeated and extremely competent Demetrius Andrade, prompting his camp to cancel the fight.
Really like to bash somebody, because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram. Right. If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win a title limiter, we'll give you a title shot. You win the WBC interim title, we'll give you a title shot. I've been in this position for 3 years. So just because Canelo, he could do what he wants, as he says. Right. He's not going to fight the top competition. And he's holding all those belts hostage, bro. And it's not like, you got other great fighters too. You got me, David Morrell's there. Yeah. How is it fair that these sanctioning bodies let him pick and choose who he wants to fight? And then the Canelo fans too that be talking shit, bro. Like, do you guys not want to see the best fights? Right. Like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to make the best fights happen. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to give the fans what they want to see.
He pondered on his path and said, "Since I was 3 years old, I've had one dream only, and that's to become the greatest boxer of all time, and that's exactly what we're going to accomplish." This ambition, he stated, drives him to chase the most prominent names. And what happened next would only add to the drama.
Nobody, I've heard everybody that's been in front of me, and Canelo's no different. And I will hurt him too, and I'll take all his belts. It's crazy that he asked for 150 million or 200 million to fight me, but he still has the nerve to say that I don't bring nothing to the table. So if I didn't bring nothing to the table, why are you asking for more money than you won in your whole career if I don't mean anything? Maybe after he gets that money, he can buy himself a pair of balls. What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a f what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. in my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans. But he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division. I'm #1 in the division, #1 contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the #1 or the #2 guys? He's asking $200 million. Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's gonna make. When he fought Amir Khan, he outweighed him at like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever.
Canelo's silence fueled Benavidez's rage, leading in a series of violent outbursts. During the same inside-the-ring interview, Benavidez was asked about Canelo's reaction to his presence, which he answered without hesitation. He stated emphatically, "He's definitely scared of me." He challenged the logic. If you have a fighter who is talking trash in front of you, why don't you make a public spectacle of him by beating me in the ring and making a lot of money? Benavidez underlined his belief, highlighting Canelo's struggles against stronger opponents like Bivol. He remarked that he sees so many things in me that he can't stop. He sees more than just speed and muscle in me. He sees a great deal of heart. He emphasized his fearlessness, adding, "It does not frighten me to fight another great fighter because I know it will improve me and who I am as a boxer and competitor." Benavidez, who is gaining confidence and approaching his prime, believes Canelo missed a wonderful opportunity. If he had the chance, he would have beaten me back then. He has no chance of beating me now.
Canelo, Benavidez, if they fought, which I don't think they're going to fight no time soon, who do you think will win?
Man, that's hard to say. I think both have pros and cons. You know, I feel like the things that Canelo does better than David. There's things that David does better than Canelo. In a way, I'm not comparing it to this fight, but it's like the better be of Bivol fight. You can say who you think is going to win. You can't say like, oh man, I'm surprised the Bivol won, or I'm surprised the better be of won. You're like, man, that's a damn good fight. So-and-so won. So kind of how I feel about the David and Canelo fight, like who had the best camp, who has the best game plan, who slept the best the night before.
And it's not much that separates guys at that level.
If David can get on him with his combinations and not give him room to breathe, then, you know, that's probably a night that David gets his hand raised. You know, if Canelo is able to slow the pace down a little bit and catch him with a big shot. David's been dropped before from an off-balance shot. He wasn't really hurt, but, you know, would you be surprised if Canelo stopped him? You know, no. So it's hard to say.
This wasn't just talk. It was a clear statement of intent. However, there were other layers to this sophisticated boxing chess battle. The long-running issue also involves a delicate dance of weight classes and the reluctance of other great fighters. Benavidez recently moved into the light heavyweight division, making a strong statement about his comfort and ambition there. Benavidez firmly refuted in the interview that he could still make 168 pounds. Honestly, you should let Terence Crawford live. That's his way. I've lost interest in 168 a long time ago. He explicitly indicated his current focus. I'm more comfortable at 175. I am on the lookout for better Biv and Bivol. You know, I'm after the bigger ones. I'm pursuing Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight.
Canelo was 100% confident in himself. I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, you know, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never got off
You think
steroids.
he's on steroids?
Of course. Of course. How does
You saw De La Hoya call him out.
How do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
Call for David Benavidez once this fight is done. Is that a fight that you can see happening before the end of your career?
Look, I never say no to anything. We'll see later. But I'm focused 100% on this fight.
Is there a possibility, or you just go one at a time and you also speak with your team?
Yeah, I go one at a time, but you know, it's a possibility. Always.
Right.
But I've been in this position my whole life. One was that was in Toronto in 2012, 11. Then Mayweather, then Lara, then Cotto, then Callum Smith, them Golovkin, and then if I beat Benavidez, it's gonna be other guy there they want me to fight. So I've been in this position my whole life, but you know, is that time when that fight they ask, I give it to them. But right now in this position I am, now is the time I need to ask. If the money.
This move upended the Canelo narrative by insinuating that Benavidez could outgrow the division in which Canelo has all of the belts. In another twist, following Crawford's historic victory, his trainer Brian "Bomac" McIntyre was quick to dismiss the potential of a future fight with Benavidez, stating unequivocally, "We're not interested in that." This left Canelo in an unusual position, with less excuses to avoid the fight everyone wants to see.
Seeing him handle my presence he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter, because I know that elevates me and who I am as a boxer.
However, Canelo appeared to have other options. Canelo is currently at a critical juncture in his incredible career. With Crawford's setback still fresh, a rematch has been formally ruled out, clearing his schedule. He still has 2 fights left on his contract, and speculation regarding his next move abounds. Many observers see Benavidez as the unquestionably reasonable choice, a new dangerous opponent who has earned his chance. However, there is always the possibility that Canelo will take a less challenging bout to defend his record and continue his rule over softer opponents. The boxing world is waiting to see whether Canelo will finally face the challenge or continue to take the easier route.
Took the fight with me way back then, because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. And he has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this confidence. I'm stepping into my prime. You know, I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to, every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight. And like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go.
However, there is a powerful new player who influences these high-risk decisions. Turki Al-Sheikh, the powerful chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, is rapidly changing the boxing world with vast financial resources. Al-Sheikh possesses great power, and he has not been shy about teasing massive fights. In a remarkable post, he even proposed a super middleweight match between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez, an intriguing idea that might utterly sideline Canelo. The Saudi-backed push for massive games adds another degree of complication, since financial incentives have risen considerably. So that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon to ensure you don't miss any future videos. Don't forget to share your feedback in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we hope to see you in the future video.